Peter Cratchit.
The Laborer.
Party Guest.
Young Ebenezer Scrooge.
Tiny Tim.
Young Jacob Marley.
Young Belle.
Mrs. Dilber.
Young Jacob Marley.
Party Guest.
One of Belle's daughters.
People in and out.
A young businessman.
Jacob Marley.
Martha Cratchit.
The Ghost of Christmas Past.
Dora.
Want.
One of the Miss Fezziwigs.
Belle's daughter.
Dora's sister.
Fred. The First Gentleman.
The Drunk Boozy.
Young Ebenezer. The Ghost of Christmas Past.
Ghost of Christmas Present.
Miss Fezziwig.
Girl.
Shopkeeper.
Ignorance.
Fan.
Scrooge as a younger man. Hopper.
Suitor.
Bit of a scrapper.
Ghost of Christmas Past #2. Mary Cratchit.
The Undertaker Man.
Belle.
Boy.
Beggar Child.
And
Ebenezer Scrooge.
I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. And I'm as giddy as a drunken man.
A Christmas Carol is not, well, it's a play with music. It's not a musical.
I've done a lot of Christmas carols. I was remarking to my family the other day that this is once again probably my 9th Thanksgiving in a row to spend it at a theater working on a Christmas carol. That's my Thanksgiving tradition.
Coming back to do Christmas carols sort of has turned me into Santa Claus around here. I come in with this white beard and everybody goes, oh, it must be November. We've got to get ready for Christmas.
Actually, Christmas Carol was the first play that I ever did back in Illinois where I grew up.
my favorite part about being in A Christmas Carol is just being here at Portland Center Stage.
I'm excited to be part of the production. It's going to be great.
I'm considerably younger than a lot of the actors who have played this role before, but I have seen many productions of it, and so remembering those is really helping me process the role and bring forth what I have to give to the role and the production.
It's really cool to be in the play because I've never been in a play where you are in a lot of performances.
I thoroughly enjoy the story and never get tired of the Dickens story of A Christmas Carol. It's sort of that idea of selling your cynicism and buying wonderment, to paraphrase the poet Rumi.
It's a wonderful adaptation of the show. I'm a big fan of the book, the novel, and Mead has really stayed true to it. There's so much of it straight out of Dickens, and the narration, and it's just it's a wonderful play. It's going to be a lot of fun to do, and I think people are going to really dig it.
All the words that we speak are Dickens words, and they're really gorgeous, and just the energy behind all the language is quite good.
Our scenic designer, Dex Edwards, has done some amazing design work as far as how do we capture that magic and thrill of the ghost story, which is A Christmas Carol.
We're doing a number of non-traditional theatrical tricks. When I started off my career in the theater as a third grade performer, I started out as a magician, and so we're using a number of non-theatrical scenic effects. This is the first time the Scene Shop had to run out and find magician's wax and spider wire and bolts and bolts and bolts of China silk for this particular production. Not the typical sort of sandbags backstage tie lines.
Let's start over here. Just to give you a sense of what we're working with on this show. On this particular drawing, Christmas Present flies in on a huge wreath. And as she does, this series of swags sort of frame her on stage. So you get truly sort of a magic thing.
Christmas Present comes out of the sky, and she has a magic wand that she carries, and when she waves it on people, it brings the joy of Christmas into their bodies, and it usually will kind of make them dance or do some movement.
The show is set on 2 revolves, and this is just one of them, but there's another one alongside of it, and what it's provided for us is an opportunity to bring in other scenes.
One thing that's a little unique about this Christmas Carol is that there's a through line, there's an arc to what the different spirits are. Scrooge goes to sleep in his bed, and then bit by bit, each specter, as it's introduced, is tied together sort of thematically from Scrooge's dream.
At sometimes it's very presentational in style, where we talk directly to the audience and share the ideas of the show. And other times it lets that fourth wall, that invisible wall between audience and actor drift in, and you find yourself watching a scene that's intimate and real on its own.
So one example is the Fezziwig Party, and we used movement to get across the idea that Scrooge's past Christmases used to be filled with joy, and so Scrooge is standing on the outside of the party looking in at a social dance that's happening at the party. So it's not a big dance production number for the audience, like we're at the Fezziwig Party, but it's more just for each other to get across how much joy they used to have and the games that they used to play when they were all together.
A designer, a friend of mine once said, the creative process takes as long as it takes. In the case of a show with a lot of effects, tricks, movement, I mean, Scrooge goes to sleep and then goes to 26 locations very quickly. Along the way, there are always little adjustments that you realize, oh, that's not going to work. And on the spot, you have to think, well, and what would be my other choice? Sometimes that allows for some really interesting creative solutions.
Costumes have done some amazing things as well, using not only costumes that they've built for prior Christmas shows, but building some new ones for these particular characters and renting a good deal of Victoriana kind of outerwear from different theaters who aren't doing A Christmas Carol this season. So it's a nice pastiche of the period.
My hope and my sort of goal is that the scenery just stay out of the way and let that production that I saw in the rehearsal hall happen for the audience.